9 months after the divorce, Adrian Blackwood's life ran on precision. The city skyline glowed beneath the glass walls of his penthouse office, numbers scrolling across his tablet as if emotions had never existed. He had buried the past exactly where it belonged, under contracts, mergers, and sleepless nights. At 11:47 p.m., his phone rang. Adrian frowned. No one called him at this hour unless something was burning or bleeding. He answered without looking at the screen. "Blackwood, Mr. Blackwood," a woman said calmly, professionally. "This is St. Mary's Hospital. We need you to come immediately." Adrian leaned back in his chair. "You have the wrong number." "There is no mistake, sir. This concerns Elena Blackwood." The name hit harder than any insult. His jaw tightened. "She stopped being my responsibility 9 months ago." There was a brief pause on the line, then the woman spoke again, slower this time. "She has just given birth to a baby boy." Silence swallowed the room. Adrian stood so fast his chair crashed to the floor. "That's impossible," he said. "Elena was not. You were listed as the father," the nurse continued. "The child arrived prematurely. Both mother and baby are stable, but complications were severe." The words father and premature echoed in his mind. Suddenly, moments he had dismissed as meaningless twisted into something terrifyingly clear. Elena's sudden illness, her refusal to meet his eyes, the divorce she pushed through without explanation. "You're saying," his voice faltered for the first time in years. "Yes, Mr. Blackwood, your ex-wife was pregnant when you divorced her." His phone nearly slipped from his hand. Rage surged first. Hot, violent, uncontrollable. She had lied. She had taken his child and erased him. Then came something far worse. Fear. What if he had missed everything? "I'm on my way," he said hoarsely. He ended the call and grabbed his coat, his reflection in the dark glass looking unfamiliar, shaken, pale, human. As the elevator descended, one thought consumed him. 9 months ago, she walked away with more than his heart. She walked away with his child. The hospital smelled of antiseptic and sleepless nights. Adrian walked down the corridor like a man headed toward judgment. Each step felt heavier than the last, his polished shoes echoing too loudly in the quiet ward. He had signed billion-dollar deals without hesitation, yet nothing had ever terrified him like opening one hospital door. Room 317. He stopped outside it, hand hovering in the air. For the first time in his life, Adrian Blackwood hesitated. Inside, Elena lay propped against white pillows, her skin pale, dark circles under her eyes. Her hair was pulled back messily, not the elegant perfection he remembered. Beside her, in a clear crib, slept a tiny baby wrapped in blue. Adrian's breath caught, so small, so real. Elena turned her head slowly. When her eyes met his, there was no shock, only tired understanding, as if she had known this moment would come. "You came," she said softly. "You were pregnant," Adrian replied, his voice low and raw. "You let me divorce you without telling me." Her fingers tightened around the blanket. "You didn't want a child. That was never said. It didn't need to be." She finally looked at him fully. "You wanted control, schedules, silence. There was never space for a baby, or for me." Adrian glanced at the crib again, chest tightening painfully. "You had no right to decide that alone." Elena let out a bitter laugh. "And you had every right to disappear." The words struck deep. Memories flooded back. Nights she ate alone, messages left unanswered, the meeting he chose over her doctor appointment. He opened his mouth, then closed it. For once, excuses felt useless. "He almost died," she continued. Quietly. "I was alone. I didn't want your pity or your lawyers. I wanted peace." Adrian stepped closer, his towering presence suddenly unsure. "What's his name?" She hesitated, then said, "Lucas." The name wrapped around his heart. His son. His. The baby stirred, letting out a soft cry. Elena winced as she shifted, pain clear on her face. Instinctively, Adrian reached out, steadying her before she could fall. Their eyes met. Too close, too familiar. "This changes everything," he whispered. Elena looked at him with fierce exhaustion. "No, Adrian, this changes you, if you let it." Adrian didn't leave. By morning, the sun filtered through the thin hospital curtains, casting a soft glow over the room. Elena slept fitfully, her breathing uneven, exhaustion etched into every line of her face. Adrian sat in the chair beside the crib, his tailored suit rumpled for the first time in years. Lucas. The name echoed in his mind as he watched the tiny rise and fall of his son's chest. One finger, impossibly small, curled around Adrian's own when he dared to reach into the crib. The touch struck him harder than any loss he had ever known. He had missed everything. The first kick, the first heartbeat, the nights Elena must have cried alone, afraid and abandoned. For the first time, guilt outweighed anger. It pressed into his chest until breathing felt difficult. "I didn't know," he whispered, though no one was listening. Elena woke to the sound of his voice. She watched him quietly, eyes filled with something that wasn't forgiveness, but wasn't hatred either. "You would have controlled everything," she said softly. "Doctors, schedules, my body. I couldn't breathe in that marriage." Adrian didn't deny it. "I thought providing was enough. I thought love meant stability. And I needed presence," she replied. A nurse entered, checking monitors, nodding approvingly. "You're a natural," she said to Adrian, gesturing toward the crib. He almost laughed at the absurdity of it. Natural. Nothing in his life had prepared him for this. Yet when Lucas whimpered, Adrian stood instantly, rocking him with clumsy care until the sound faded. Something inside him shifted, quietly, permanently. "I will not fail him," Adrian said firmly. "Even if you never forgive me." Elena studied him for a long moment. "Words are easy, I know." His voice broke. "That's why I'm staying." Hours passed. Meetings were cancelled. Calls went unanswered. For the first time, his empire waited for him. That night, when Elena struggled to sit up, pain flashing across her face, Adrian was already there, supporting her without asking. There was no demand in his touch, no expectation. Only remorse. As he watched mother and child sleep again, Adrian understood the truth he had avoided for years. Being powerful had cost him everything that mattered. And this time, he was willing to lose control, to finally earn his place. 3 weeks later, the hospital room felt emptier. Lucas slept peacefully in his carrier, dressed in soft blue, unaware that his parents stood on opposite sides of a fragile truce. Elena moved slowly, still healing, but there was steel in her posture now. She had made her decision. "I'm leaving the city," she said, adjusting the strap on the bag slung over her shoulder. "My sister lives near the coast. It's quieter, safer." Adrian felt the words like a closing door. He had known this was coming. He deserved it. "I won't stop you," he said carefully. "But I won't disappear either." Elena met his gaze. "I don't need a savior, Adrian. I need consistency." He nodded. "Then judge me by my actions." He reached into his coat and placed a slim folder on the table. "No logos. No lawyers present. It's custody paperwork," he explained. "Equal say. No clauses that trap you. No threats. If you want to rewrite it, you can." Elena blinked, surprised despite herself. "I spent our marriage trying to own everything," he continued. "This time, I want to earn trust, even if it takes years." Silence stretched between them. Finally, Elena lifted Lucas from the carrier and held him close. The baby stirred, blinking up at the world. She stepped forward and placed him in Adrian's arms. The weight of his son grounded him in a way nothing else ever had. Lucas's tiny fingers wrapped around his tie, anchoring him to the present. "Don't make promises you can't keep," Elena said quietly. "I won't," Adrian replied. "Not to him, not to you." She studied his face, searching for arrogance, control, the man who once hurt her. What she saw instead was humility. Fear, hope. "I'm not coming back," she said. "Not yet, I know. But," she hesitated, "you can visit. On my terms." Relief flooded him, sharp and undeserved. As Elena turned toward the door, she paused. "This doesn't mean we start over." Adrian looked down at Lucas, then back at her. "No, it means we start right." The door closed softly behind her. Adrian stood alone, holding the future in his arms, understanding at last. Love wasn't about possession. It was about staying.